Okay, so what I have here is a whole bunch of MK2 soundboards along with a Revolution X soundboard right here, which is basically it's the exact same soundboard, but it has extra parts. It's got a bridge rectifier and a fuse and a connection for 12 volts AC and a much bigger filter cap because of that. And it's got a populated chip here where the MK2 boards don't. Things like that. MK2 uses all of this section where the Revolution X does not. So it's the same exact soundboard, but there's different circuitry and components and parts. But I bought these a long time ago in a lot of 5, and there's 4 MK2s and the one Revolution X. So I bought these in hopes, well, maybe I can get some of them to work at some point. The only one that's actually complete was this one. I've already removed this because I capped it. It had a big sticker on it that said dead, and I did test it, and sure enough, it was dead. However, it wasn't completely dead. It just had no. It had no LED, that didn't light up, it had no test tones, no game sounds, but the amplifier was working because you could actually hear the normal static and noise and stuff on the speaker, but you couldn't actually hear any game sounds or no test tone, no nothing. And the sounds would change with what was on the screen. So based off of that, I knew the amplifier was good, and I knew the op amp was good, because just out of normal volume level, if you don't hear anything, if you hear nothing at all, completely dead, no sounds, no static, no nothing, it could be the main amplifier or U37. But because I was hearing static and noise on the speaker, just no game sounds and no test tones, I knew the amplifier and the U37 op amp were good. You can also test that by powering it up and just running your finger along the connections for the amplifier and the op amp. That will make it crackle and fizzle and stuff, so you'll know your amplifiers are good. Another way you can tell is if they get warm. They should never get really hot. If they get scalding hot, then they're shorted. Something's shorted. But if they just get warm, lukewarm, then that's good. And like I say, you can just touch the pads. You should hear noise off of them. And I might show you later if I remember to. But I thought, oh, maybe it's got bad caps, So I did a full cap kit. I changed all the electrolytics, all the axials, full cap kit. It did nothing. So after that, I thought, well, maybe it might be a good candidate here for a video on some troubleshooting. So we'll see what we can figure out. The rest of these are just kind of like a lost cause for the moment. You can see that the PLCC chip is missing, and all of these components, the amplifier is missing, U37 is missing, so somebody's already robbed that for something, and all this stuff's gone. So this is kind of a lost cause for the moment, and that's, sadly it's the case for the rest of them. You can see this one's pretty bare. Someone's robbed U37 from it. And they've robbed all of the components here around the amplifier area. They even robbed the filter cap. And there's no ROMs, and so this one is basically just a parts one. Unless I might try and go through and repair all these if I can get all the parts, which really shouldn't be too difficult. But we'll see how it goes. This one actually isn't too bad. It's in good shape. It's just missing the components. So we may try and fix this later down the road. This one here is kind of the same story. It's missing the PLCC chip, missing the GAL chip, it's missing the amplifiers, missing U37. Someone took U30 out of here, and it's all jacked up, quite literally. So this one, the clock crystal is present on all of these except this one. Someone robbed the clock crystal for this one. But here's another good candidate for a rebuild if I can get it running and working. So there's a couple I can probably get, if I just find the parts for, get up and going. This one here, it's a lot of the same story. There's missing U2, U37 is there, so at least we have a 37, which I assume is working because no one's robbed it yet. U16's gone, the whole amplifier section's gone, no filter cap, the PLCC socket is broken. So this one's kind of in dire straits, but again, nothing that can't be, U13's gone for some reason. I can't imagine why that would be taken out. So yeah, those are all pretty sad. This one here, I already talked about this one, I guess. The same situation, the whole amplifier section's gone. I wouldn't be able to test this anyway without a Revolution X board or a 12 volt AC input. So, but this one was actually complete. It just marked a big sticker, it said dead, I threw it away. But it is indeed dead. I did the full cap kit. Oh, another message. I'm popular the last couple of days. So this was, this was complete miraculously. I did a full cap kit, no change. You can hear the static and noise, so I know the amplifier and the op amp are good. No test tone, no LED, and no game sounds. So, really could be anything. Let's get the schematics out and take a look, because it's a very good indication of where we can go by this not lighting up. Kind of helps us out a lot by this not lighting up. It's DS1. If you look here, we can find it in the schematics under DS1. So I just happen to have the manual right here with the schematics from my original dedicated machine. And we'll flip to the back. Okay, CPU board 7 of 22. Memory expansion board 1 of 5. 3 of 5. 5 of 5. Soundboard 1 of 5. So we'll start on page 1. Okay, where is the diode? Let's start here. Okay, logic, jumpers, U17, logic, U1, that's the PLCC. Oh, there it is. If you look here, zoom in, DS1, there it is. I figured it would be on one of the other pages here. It's interesting, I think this has the pinout for the Revolution X as well. I think this does it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think it's in here as well since it's the same board. Alright, well, let's take a look at this. So here is our LED. It goes through some resistors, some pull-down resistors, a 14-pin 7406 dip U29 dip package, and it goes to U36 on pin 15. Well, it looks like these are both the same. They're both 74HC174, and it looks like they share the same clock and reset line. I believe that's the CLR is the reset line. If you look here and follow it, here's the reset line, and it goes through up to that splice point, which then goes to there. So those are the reset lines. So they both share a reset line. Now I know the game's not in reset because the main board's working, so it's not in reset. If we follow out the clock signal, it comes down and goes to our gal chip, U17. Interesting. So I don't think these are bad because they share the same data lines. Actually, no, they don't share the same data. They share sets of data. It looks like data 0 through 13 and 14 through 19. One of these could be bad. I don't think so, though, because I don't know if it'd be which one it is, and because we're not getting any kind of, because our data isn't garbled, we're not getting any data. So if one of these was bad, we'd still have some type of data on the line, but there's nothing. It's just static and noise. So if we follow it through, it goes right to the gal chip for the clock signal, and it comes out on, it looks like 22 output 1 goes up to here for the clock. So I'm wondering if we have a bad gal chip. It's as good a place as any to start, I suppose, because that's the output of this goes to these two chips, which then has the output. Well, I guess it does go to these two, but this is the only chip that has the output to the LED. So I guess since this is soldered in and this is socketed, we can change this first. If that doesn't fix it, we'll change this chip out here. So let's start with the U17 gal chip and see where we're at. I guess let's power it up so you can see and experience what it's doing now before we change that out. Let's zoom out. I'm actually, now that I've looked at it, I'll bet you that gal chip is the problem, because that's the output to the chip that goes to the LED, and we don't have any kind of data at all. So the data would be garbled or messed up or wrong sounds if it was one of those other two chips. Fairly certain. So let's get it booted up now. Fair warning here, I do not have the cable. That's one thing I had to order. I got all my parts in for the multi-MK project except the power cable for my MK1 and my MK2 board, so I don't have these power cables yet. In hindsight, I probably could have waited to make this video, but it's a Saturday afternoon and I'm bored, so I thought I'll pull these out and see what I can figure out. Because this one was complete, I thought, well, this might obviously have the best chance of working. So, but I already did power it up, like I say, in the amplifier and the op amp is good. I just had it's just static and no game sounds and test tone and light. So we already know that. Sorry. I repeat myself sometimes. Well, actually quite often. Sorry about that. Anyway, so I've got all the parts for the multi-kit except for the switcher and my power cables for MK1 MK2 here. So we'll have to come up with some kind of ingenious Dr. Frankenstein type of stuff. I might have to solder some wires to here. But yeah, let's get it powered up. And because that's what I did before. I actually used a connector for the first 4 pins. And I used these wires here to solder to the... Where'd it go? I got another wire around here somewhere. I used wires, to solder to the back of this and go to the main board. So it'll be jury rigged, but I want to show you what's happening before we try the gal chip. So stand by here and let's see if I can get it all fired up. Alright, so I got my wires on here. It's not the most professional thing, but they're soldered to the backside of the header pins instead of actually soldering to the header pins. And I have another connector here that's jury rigged up here to this. So, like I say, it's a Frankenstein deal, but until I get my actual power cable, this will have to do, and I've double checked to make sure it's all wired right. So we've got our power hooked up. Just excuse the crudity of this model. I didn't have time to build it to scale or to paint it. Some of you will know what that means. So, yeah, it's ready to go. I have my ribbon cable installed the correct way. Let me actually came out a bit. There we go. So yeah, I'll turn it on and you can see and hear what's happening before we try our gal chip repair. You can hear the logic and the sound and the background noise, and I can run my finger across the amplifier. You can hear that, and the U37. You can hear that. So we know that's working. So you had no test tone, no LED, nothing. So let's go ahead and now you can hear it, yeah. The sounds and hum and noise change with what's on the screen. So let's try our theory here. Let's take this gal chip out, which may be easier said than done here. Let me get the camera on the tripod and we'll change it out on camera so we can see what happens. One moment. Alright, so we're going to rob the gal chip from our Revolution X PCB. I don't even know if this is good. I assume it is. I mean, I've never actually seen the gal chip fail, but stranger things have happened. Alright, so here's our original one with the crooked label. Here's our replacement from the Revolution X PCB with the straighter label. And let's get it in here, and fingers crossed. I mean, like I say, I don't think it was the logic chips, or we'd have odd, incorrect sounds as opposed to no sound. So here we go. We're looking for a test tone, and we're listening for game sounds. Hopefully, and we're also looking for an LED light up. Let me turn this off. That'll help. So, all right, let's see. Is our theory correct? One moment. 1, 2, 3. I still have the noise. Hey! Outstanding! Do we have game sounds? We do! Can I adjust the volume? I sure can. Well, what do you know? Well, there you have it, guys. Bad gal chip. How about that? First time I've seen that. But with the schematics, with the help of the schematics, you can usually track these problems down. It was very simple circuit to follow. Led us right to the gal chip. So just for the sake of testing, we know it works now. Let's put our original gal chip back in. Okay, that one's out. Our original crooked label one is going back in. Okay, no bent pins. It's back in. Let's see what happens. Yep, no test tone. And no game sounds. Well, there you have it. Pretty definitive. We'll try it one more time. All right. All right. Replacement's in. No bent pins. We'll try it again. Excellent. Well, there you have it. Proof positive. Bad gal chip, and in the trash it goes. So, all right. Thanks for watching, and I've got most of my parts in for the multi-MK project, just waiting on the switcher, and of course these power connectors here, one for MK2, one for MK1. I ran out of cables, but that should all be here Monday, and then hey, we can get started. So let's turn this around here and aim it up, and we'll zoom in a bit, I guess. And there you go. Let's see how long I can last on survival with I only have high punch. Oh, well. I only have high punch and high kick hooked up. I don't have the low attack buttons, so.
Fight.
Oh.
Finish him.
I'm trying to catch him in the high punch exploit, but the switch is not that good.
Fight.
Oh, I didn't last very long at all. I haven't played in so long. You know, I was trying to catch him in the high punch exploit where you can catch him high punch, high punch, high punch, high punch. And every time you do that, they try and sweep you. But the AI has changed on MK2 Plus, and it's hard to catch them in that. Plus, the high punch button on my test rig here is pretty shitty. So, yeah, anyway. So, yeah, hey, successful repair, bad gal chip. So, keep that in mind if you ever have background noise and crazy interference noises and stuff. At least you know your amplifier is good. Your U37 should be good. Make sure your ribbon cable is on correctly at both ends. And maybe you have a bad gal chip. So, if this helped teach you something, I'm glad, and we'll see you next time.